Steve Bacher joins me tonight on Rebel Headquarters. He's running for Congress in Pennsylvania's 8th District. He is running against a Republican incumbent. Obviously, there's a Democratic primary there as well. First of all, Steve, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Thank you so much.
All right, great to have you here. So you got Brian Fitzpatrick as your congressman there for the moment being. He claims to be a moderate. Is that true?
Not at all. He votes with Trump 83% of the time, according to 538. He claims to be all kinds of things that he's not. He claims to be for good government, but he voted against making Trump reveal his tax returns. He claims to be for the environment, but he voted for bills that continue fossil fuel subsidies and for the budget that cut the EPA. On and on.
So I love these guys who pose as moderates and then vote to cut the EPA and drill in Alaska, et cetera. And what drives me crazy about it is the mainstream media, who aids and abets them and calls them moderates and centrists when they're no such thing. So there's one other thing about this guy that's interesting. He apparently brags all the time that he's a former FBI agent. But you know what, Steve, that might help your cause, because these days Republicans might want to vote against him on that alone.
Well, and not only that, but he does start everything he says with us. He doesn't defend them when the president attacks the FBI, right? And with this latest Nunes memo, he threw them under the bus. So he's just a hypocrite in so many different ways.
Yeah. So now the DCCC has targeted this district as one to watch. And Steve, you're very progressive, so I'm sure they got your back, right?
I'm not yet. Not yet. I'm sure they'll come running in after the primary, but right now they're awfully quiet.
Well, could there be a multi-millionaire Democratic candidate in the race as well?
Yes, there is. He grew up here and he left 40 years ago and he just moved back.
Well, and then could there be a former Republican who's now a Democrat in the race?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
And perhaps the DCCC a little bit more interested in those folks than you.
I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking.
Steve, I have a pretty good sense of what they're thinking.
I've been fighting for all the issues we care about in this district for the last 10 years. I co-founded the Bucks County chapter of 350.org, and I co-founded the Bucks Environmental Action Coalition, which is bringing together Sierra Club and Delaware Riverkeeper Network and 350 and the rest of us who are all trying to save our planet for our children and our grandchildren, fighting against pipelines, fighting against fracking. I don't know why the DCCC would not be backing me. What can I say?
Yeah, I know why. Of course, they're obsessed with money, 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 money. Do you take corporate PAC money, Steve?
No, sir.
Well, that's why you're not getting DCCC help, and that's why progressives are more likely to support you. So why is the environment your number one issue?
Well, if we don't have a planet, what else matters, right? The environment. I've been aware of this since back in 1992 when I read Al Gore's book Earth and the Balance, and that kind of changed my life. And I've been fighting to keep our air and water clean ever since, and doing everything I can. I have some friends who are very involved with the Citizens Climate Lobby, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is pushing to help us do a renewable energy transition more rapidly by putting a fee on carbon emissions. And that would also enhance investments in renewable energy and create millions of new jobs, even more than are being created today in renewable energy. So it's a win-win. We save the planet and we create millions of jobs.
But Donald Trump has a theory that if people who exercise run out the battery of their lives and will die sooner. And so I'm a little worried that if we do solar energy, we might run out the battery of the sun. I'm not sure you thought about that, Steve.
No, it's funny. My dad was an engineer, and he's been working on renewable, rechargeable batteries and solar panels. My whole childhood, I've been hearing about this stuff, and no, I don't think we're going to run out the battery of the sun now.
Right. So all kidding aside, is fracking a big issue in your district?
Yes, it is, because we have, we're on the Delaware River here. We have Washington Crossing in our district, and 17 million people get their water from the Delaware River, and we want to keep fracking out of the Delaware River Basin. And recently, the Delaware River Basin Commission proposed some rules, which on the one hand would ban drilling, but on the other hand would allow withdrawing water from the river and also dumping frack wastewater in the basin, which would eventually find its way into our drinking water. So I'm one of many people who have been protesting against this and testifying at hearings against this and doing everything we can to just stop every aspect of fracking in our area. And I don't understand why the EPA did not ban fracking from day one across the country, because it's poisoning our water across the country.
Yeah.
As well as polluting the air.
I have a pretty good sense of why they didn't ban it. It might just have to do with corporate money, but
that corporate money thing again. There it is.
Yeah, you libs, you want to take money out of politics and take rights away from human beings like corporations. All right, so among your top priorities are, of course, Medicare for all. We already said You're deeply progressive, but you've got stagnant wages as one of your priorities, and I love that. Tell me what you mean by stagnant wages, and if you were in Congress, what could you do about it?
Okay, well, here in the district, we have low unemployment, but wages are not keeping up with the cost of living, especially the cost of health insurance. And I worked at Bucks County Community College for 8 years, and I saw students struggling to pay the bills at the college with just one part-time job. Many of them have more than one part-time job, and the parents are struggling, not to mention the faculty and staff, because frankly, wages are stagnant there and they're stagnant throughout the district. So what could we do in Congress? In Congress, we could pass a living wage act so that a family of 4 could have one wage earner and keep their family out of poverty. That would probably need to be a regionally adjusted minimum wage, depending on the cost of living in different areas. But I think that's a huge thing that Congress is perfectly capable of doing. I mean, starting with the fight for 15, but in some places in the country, the minimum wage needs to be even higher than 15, and we need to get there soon because families are struggling.
Yep. So every time you say Bucks County, I think give a Bucks, vote for Steve Bacher. So, because I like to say goofy things. Let's show the links. Speaking of giving a Bucks, so if you're watching, of course, the links are down below on YouTube description box and the comment section on Facebook. So you can give a Bucks right at that link right there. You just click on it if you're in the description box or comment section. Volunteer for Steve because warriors will beat mercenaries every time. This volunteer army can take on anything. And then you got stevebacher.com. And then one more thing, Steve, you've got infrastructure in one of your priorities. Why move it up the list? Why is infrastructure so high up for you?
Have you driven in Bucks County lately? The roads are horrible. We have 2 bridges on Route 1 that were deemed structurally deficient. And this is a problem across the country. And it's something that's desperately needed for safety. People are spending hundreds of dollars repairing their cars when dealing with these roads, hitting potholes and et cetera. And it's a safety issue, and we would create lots and lots and lots of good paying jobs if we would pass an infrastructure bill that was paid for with a tax system that charges the wealthiest 1% their fair share.
Yeah.
Not privatizing it the way this president wants to.
Well, I was just good.
We don't want to sell our infrastructure to wealthy people so they can increase our tolls and own our public roads. That's just wrong.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Steve. For Trump, bucks given, 0. So if he has his way, you would get your potentially get your roads and bridges fixed, but then you'd have to pay for them forever through tolls where corporations not only get their money back for doing those tolls and bridges, which is understandable, but maximize their profits from you guys for the rest of time. Do you think that'll fly in Bucks County?
No, that's not going to fly in Bucks County, and it shouldn't fly anywhere in the country. You know, there has been a balance in the past between public good and reasonable private profit. But this Republican Congress and this crazy administration is skewing things towards private profit and corporate greed at the expense of the public good. And we really just need to talk about public good and our shared needs and helping each other and taking care of each other. I mean, government is there to make good, safe roads and on a not-for-profit basis.
Yep.
That's what we should be doing.
And ironically, that of course actually improves business and improves the economy, as we did when we built the interstate highway system. We greatly improved the economy, and we didn't have to rob Paul to pay Peter. And so, all right, I love it.
Exactly, because the wealthiest people were willing to pay their fair share in the 1950s, and the economy boomed, right?
Yeah, no, in the 50s, not the tax rate for everybody, but the highest marginal tax rate was 91%.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? Our economy grew like no economy in the history of the world. So trickle-down economics is nothing but an absolute lie. It's an excuse to keep your wages low, but if you send Steve Bacher to Congress, he's not going to stand for it. Okay?
Absolutely not.
All right, Steve, go get him. I love how you fought for protecting our environment your whole life, and I hope you get to do it in Congress. And wouldn't it be amazing if we had progressive champions like Steve Bacher as congressman? God, I'd love to have you back on when you're United States representative.
I would be honored. It's been an honor today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Steve.